So go ahead.
I am Heath Gilbert, and I am. Recently, someone shared with me the Ed Council podcast where they discussed the Dirty Book issue, the same firm that represents the district. They discussed the school in Kansas City being sued for removing books with sexually explicit content. They go on to explain that Ed Council believes schools should take steps to remove some books. Considering this body has clearly decided to ignore the advice of legal counsel, I found myself wondering why. Why does Ed Council believe you should remove sexually explicit books? I did a little digging. I found the Supreme Court case of Bethel School District v. Frazier. Well, the case doesn't directly relate to our book issues. The reoccurring theme in Bethel v. Frazier and the many cases it cites is that schools have the responsibility and obligation to protect students. Therein lies the reason I believe Ed Council says you should do something about these books. In Bethel v. Frazier, the student was reprimanded for his speech because of sexual innuendo. The opinion of the court was that the district was obligated to protect the other students from exposure to vulgar and offensive language. What did he say? I quote, "Jeff is firm in his pants. Jeff is a man who will go to the very end, even the climax for each and every one of you," end quote. The court believes the district was right and even obligated to protect the other students from sexual innuendo. In Cameron, students are prohibited from wearing clothing with vulgar words on them. You do that because of the obligation to protect the other students from vulgar language. Why doesn't that obligation extend to the books you provide those same students? How does the content in the books this board ignores compare to the sexual innuendo in the Bethel v. Frazier case? This passage is from the book The Bluest Eye. It describes a father raping and impregnating his 11-year-old daughter. The tightness of her vagina was more than he could bear. His shoulder seemed to slip down to his guts and fly out into her, and the gigantic thrust he made into her then provoked the only sound she made, a hollow suck of air in the back of her throat. Removing himself from her was so painful to him, to cut it short, he snatched his genitals out of the dry harbor of her vagina. How about the diverse example from all boys? He reached his hand down and pulled out my dick. He quickly went to giving me head. I just sat back and enjoyed it, as I could tell he was too. This body refused to create policy that would prohibit books with this type of filth from being in our district. You refuse to create policy which would enable staff to quickly restrict or remove books with this kind of adult content. While you do nothing, more books are being added to our libraries. The same staff who knowingly solicited book donations from organizations that want teachers to sexualize kids by teaching alternate gender ideology and sexuality to kids as young as 3 is going to continue picking books. I understand there's a group of district staff who are here tonight to discuss their concern about the district empowering parents to decide what content their kids read. They're upset they cannot challenge the decision to restrict books containing adult content that parents get to decide. It appears they want to expose this filth to kids and deny parents the right to decide. They want kids to read the passages I shared tonight. Anyone who would put this type of content in the hands of kids has no business working in a public school around children. It concerns me deeply that there are staff in this district who want kids sexualized, who fight to expose children to adult content. It concerns me more that you ignore it all. If you continue to refuse to act on your obligation to protect our children, you will empower staff to continue adding more adult content and to continue sexualizing our children. Let me part by asking you this question. When it comes to the disgusting book mess and how you have handled it. Do you believe God is pleased?